Okay, the next thing we're going to do is move to the assembly environment. It's a tab that should have already been created. It's called just generically Assembly 1. So usually when you start a new document from Onshape, you get a part studio where you build parts and an assembly where you can connect parts. So we have to bring the parts that we built into the assembly. If you don't have an assembly tab, you can hit this plus button right here and then choose to create an assembly environment. So that's what you would click on, but we don't need to do that. We already have it. Okay, and I'm on it. So we have a different set of tools in the ribbon right here. To begin the assembly, right, we have to bring in a piece, and it's very helpful that you have your puzzle in front of you and you know how you're going to build it. So it might be nice to kind of have the pieces built and to think about what order would you connect things. So for me, I'm thinking about bringing blue in first and then how orange is going to connect to it. I believe it was yellow comes in next, then green, and then purple. So in basically that order, I'm going to create the assembly. So I'm going to bring in blue, and I'm going to make this a fixed or an anchored piece that does not have freedom to move inside the assembly. You should only have one piece that gets fixed. All right, so to bring a part in, you click Insert, and Onshape's got the ability to pull from our current doc or others. I'm going to stay on our current document, and we can pull from these other parts, right? So I guess I've got to make sure I get the correct ones. I'm going to go through and delete the duplicates from when I made that video. So I need to use all the seconds or all the firsts. It doesn't really matter, I guess, because I'm going to delete some of this out. But I guess I'll maybe use the ones that you just saw me create. So that'll be the second one. So blue part, and I'm going to click to place it and accept that. Now, it's nice to have that first piece also at the origin. So to do that, you click the part. That gives you this triad, and you can click the base of the triad and drag it places. I'm going to drag it to a corner. Might be a little jumpy. And don't click it anywhere else, but while it's there at the corner, right click on the base, like the circle where the two arrows come together. Right click on that to get options and say move to origin. It drags that corner to the origin. Now I'm going to click in the white. I'm going to click on the part over here on the right and say fix. Fix is going to lock it. It removes all freedom. So it cannot be dragged, moved, rotated, nothing. All right. Next, I'm going to insert the orange. So let's get that second orange piece. And I just kind of click here to place it and accept that. Now, it's not in the orientation right now. It's kind of like this, but my puzzle, it needs to rotate like that. I can help myself by rotating this 90 degrees and even trying to wiggle it into approximately the right place. Now, don't spend a lot of time on this, but just you can get it close. So if you click on the part, when that triad comes up, you also get little handles on the end. Those give you the ability to rotate. So if I click on that little handle, I can rotate it and jog it 90 degrees, or at least close to 90. If it's not perfect, no big deal. All right, click. And all right, now I'm going to use the triad arrows to pull it into a location. Now, the pro tip is not to try to pull and move it while in 3D mode, because it doesn't always go exactly the way you're thinking. So it's better to turn orthographically and control two directions at a time and not try to control all three. So it's going to be sitting kind of down there. Now, if I rotate to the right, I can see where it's at in space, and it was pretty close. I'm going to bring that. Okay. Now, that's not exact, but no big deal. Okay. So what I need to do, actually need to orbit a little bit so there we go, so I can see the white. I want to make sure that the corner wasn't inside the other part. What I'm trying to do is identify two corners that actually are going to connect when this is perfectly where it goes. And this corner on this face of orange, that corner right there, should be perfectly kind of in the same spot as this corner of this face of blue. So to connect these and get the orange to lock to blue, we use a tool called Fastened Mate. Fastened Mate is two tools over from insert. So if you see insert, don't use a mate connector. We don't need that. Go over to the next tool called Fastened Mate. A fastened mate removes all degrees of freedom. Every time I click, I'm actually selecting two things. I'm going to get a plane and a point. Why do I need to select planes? Well, I'm trying to pick two planes that are going to be coplanar, like smooth or flush. So like picking this orange face and this blue face is picking two planes that are going to be flush or coplanar. Now, I'm also getting 2 points. Or when I click, make a click, I get a plane and a point. Why do I need points? Well, because I'm trying to define the 2 points that should align. When these planes come together, I don't want just planes to be smooth. They could kind of float around. I want to make them kind of be stuck. We're using those points to kind of know where things should align. So I'm getting, in one click, both a plane and a point. So for the orange, I will get the plane of the orange and the point of the orange at the same time. The trick is to hover on the face in the middle, and you see this little mate connector disc. Okay, don't click yet. But notice that the perimeter of the orange is highlighted. That's what we want. We need to keep it that way. Move your cursor slowly towards the corner you want to choose as a mate connector. As soon as that little disc jumps there, just stop moving your mouse. Make sure that the plane is still highlighted. Right, and it is. Clicking right now will select this face and that corner. Okay? I see a mate connector of orange. Now, in addition to that, to mate the orange to blue, I need to pick a face of the blue and a corner of the blue. So I move my mouse kind of just on the blue face, and then I'm going to slowly bring my cursor towards the corner that it should be. Ignore if it's bouncing around jumping. Ignore those. Just keep bringing your mouse closer. As soon as it jumps, make sure that the edge of the blue face you wanted is still highlighted. It is. Some students move their mouse too far, they go too fast, and they lose the plane. The plane is no longer highlighted. I know that edge is, but if you zoom out, the plane is not. I need the entire plane as in P-L-A-N-E, a plane as in a flat surface. See all the little white dots and all the edges highlighted orange. That is what I'm looking for. So I want that plane with that corner. You generally do not need to move your cursor all the way to the corner to have both the plane highlighted and the corner highlighted with the little disc. So right there, I got it. I'm going to click. It says I made a mate connector blue part, and I'm going to accept that. Okay. So after that, I'm going to bring the yellow piece, and it's going to sit approximately right there. Now I'll get it close, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to say insert. Where's my yellow piece? Oh, it's my red piece. I don't know when I made it red or yellow, but my bad. So my yellow is the red here. So, oops. And I'm struggling, I think, because my zoom level on Chrome, there you go. My zoom level on Chrome was zoomed in. I couldn't see down to the bottom of this menu. So there you go. I want the red part. Oh, I clicked twice, so guess what it did? It made it twice. So I'm going to just click over here, and I'm going to delete one of them. Just kind of click on one and hit delete. Backspace maybe on your... And I'm going to turn... And that actually came in the direction I want. I don't need to rotate it, but I need to move it closer into place. So I'm going to move it a little bit more back. I'm going to bring it down. Something's wrong. Oh, you know what? When I extruded, there's a distance. Well, hey, this is good to see. It's actually really good for you to see mistakes. So I accidentally didn't change an extrude distance to 0.75. I thought I did on all of them, but it must not have stuck, or I didn't do it. The video will prove it. I guess you can go back and get a replay. Throw the red challenge flag, see what I did. But this red piece is too long, right? I shouldn't have an extra gap. It's going into the blue. So I'm going to go back to my Part Studio and inspect this red piece. All right, which was the third piece. So right here, this folder. And I think the extrusion of the first part's okay. It is 0.75. I think it's the extrusion of the second block. I think I went an inch instead of 0.75. Yep. I did not get that to change to 0.75. So I need to fix that so that it fits. Hey, that looks better. All right, so now I'm going to use Fastened Mate. I'm going to use the side of red with this side of orange, and I'll just zoom in. I'm thinking maybe that corner from orange and that corner of red. Now, as you start to create these relationships, they're going to show up over here, and you might forget which one's which, and it's kind of nice to label them. So you can right-click over here, rename, and I leave the word fasten, but instead of that one, I'll just give it a more descriptive thing. I fastened orange to blue, right? Is what I did there. Now I'm going to fasten red to orange. So see, blue is fixed and stuck. So when orange got fastened to blue, it became stuck to blue and can't move. Right? I can't move it. I try to move it, it doesn't move. Red can move. I don't want it to. So I'm going to fasten it to orange. And then when it's fastened to the stuck piece, it will also be stuck. So we're going to turn on the Fastened Mate Tool. I'm going to get this surface and this bottom right corner. Right there, I have the surface highlighted, the perimeter, and the point. Click. Now I'm going to come over here. I have the surface of red highlighted. I'm going to move my mouse slowly to the bottom left. The mate connector is at the white point I want. I'm going to click. Boom. I'm going to accept that. And I'm going to turn this tool off. And I can test it, make sure it doesn't move. It doesn't. Orange doesn't move. Blue doesn't move. Orbiting is not moving. I'm talking about kind of left click and hold and drag and see if it can move. And you don't even get the triad. Wait, you usually don't. Let me see. This time the triad is showing up. What happens if you try to rotate it? It just won't. You kind of try and it just snaps back, right? It's not allowed to move. Okay, so next up is my green piece. It needs to sit just like that. So this is the front face. It's going to come in the right orientation. I'm just going to direct it into the spot. Close, doesn't have to be perfect. So let's insert green. Okay, and then let's get that to, again, it's hard to maneuver it into place sometimes when you're looking at it. I'm going to look at this time from above. That block, you can look at how that is here from above, right? That block should be in the middle. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to drag this. Now, from above, I can't tell if it's at the right height, but I can see if it's depth-wise, kind of going to the right spot, and side to side, it's approximately in the right spot. Let me orbit here to see if it's at a good height. It's sitting a little high, right? So I'm going to go, the front view is fine, or the right view, either one, but I'm going to click, and then I'm going to drag this thing down to get it closer to the correct height. It's going to be something like that. Okay, not perfect, but that's okay. That's what the Fasten Mate tool is for. It's going to help it move into position exactly, and it's going to stick it there. So I need to now look for, I never renamed this one. Let's rename that last one. What was it? Red to orange. Fastened red to orange. Okay, so now we're going to make another Fasten Mate. This time I'm going to go green to red. Okay, so here I have two faces, one from green, one from red, that are going to become coplanar, and I can just use those two corners right there. So let's turn on Fasten Mate, this green face and this bottom right corner point. Click. This face of red and this top right corner of red. Click. And I'm going to accept that. Okay. Last step is to bring on my purple one. So insert the purple piece. Click. Now, that is not the orientation that it's going to go in my puzzle. This is how it came in, but it's not actually going to sit like this. Okay. This blue block here goes in between these two. And this block here that's facing forward is going to go down here where that orange is. So this guy's going to have to rotate this way 90 degrees to get it into the correct orientation. Okay, so then it's going to sit right down in there. Does that make sense? So we need to take the purple that came like this, get it 90 degrees, and try to get it close to where it's going to go. Okay, so let's click on purple. Think about which one of these handles goes the way you want. If you kind of start moving and go, that's not the way I want, just type 0 on your keyboard, bring it back to 0, and try a different handle. It's this one, and you're trying to tilt it forward. And you can type now 90 and get it to move exact. Click and white to deselect. Now from above, I can kind of align it where it goes. Get it close. And then from the side, I can get it to the right height. Now, it looks pretty close. I'm really not worried about it being exact. I'm actually going to leave it a little elevated to make sure I don't drop the purple corner down into the blue piece by accident, because I want to make sure I can select it. It gets hard to select a point that's down inside another object. So there's a little gap. I can see it, right? So let's see. We fastened green to red. I keep forgetting to rename these, but green to red. And we have one left to do, and I'm going to do purple to blue. So I'm going to turn on Fastened Mate. These two faces right here on the outside are going to be flush. So I'm going to get this face of purple with this bottom right corner of purple. Click. Now I'm going to move my cursor in the middle of the blue plane. That face is highlighted, and move my cursor to the top right corner. And look how once that little mate connector disc jumps, I don't have to move my mouse. I have the two things that I want: the edge of the plane and the point. Click. See how that moves. Accept. And I'm going to turn off the Fastened Mate tool. I'm not going to create another Fastened Mate. I will rename this one this time quicker. This was purple to blue. And there you go. That is my assembled puzzle. The assembly is done. Things to check. When I click on the face, does this turn and become orthographic? It should. You can click and hold like above and left of it. Click and hold and make a box to select the entire object. And then right click on it and say check interference. Make sure there are not two parts that are in the same position, trying to occupy the same space. Okay. What would it look like if that wasn't good? Let me just move purple a little bit. If you had blocks occupying the same space, you will get some red, showing that those red regions, those red volumes of space, is where two blocks are occupying the same area. And so we call that interference. They're interfering with each other. So that can't work in the physical world, to have them taking up the same space, right? So that would let you know that you have something to fix and to troubleshoot. So there you go. That is completing the assembly.